I think only when we get to heaven will we really understand all the challenges and problems and fears that we faced in life that were completely needless. They only happened because we did not remember. Now, I want you to think with me in our text today. Moses challenges Joshua to remember. Deuteronomy 3, verse 21 and 22. At that time I gave Joshua this charge. You have seen for yourself everything the Lord your God has done to these two kings. He will do the same to all the kingdoms on the west side of the Jordan. Do not be afraid of the nations there, for the Lord your God will fight for you. He said, now listen, you've seen this. Now, when you face challenges, when you face problems ahead, Joshua, remember, you have seen what God has done for you. Remember. It is in the remembering of what God has done for us that we have faith for the current and for the future battles. It is in remembering the victories that God has given us in the past that fear is removed from the present challenges we face and from the future challenges that lie ahead. It is in the memory of God fighting for us. It is in the memory of God doing miracles on our behalf that we can fight the good fight of faith. Now, I know that faith cometh by hearing and hearing by the word of God. I teach that to you. But you've got to add something to that. Sometimes you have to sit down and think about all that God has done and remember. Moses challenges the people also in our text today, Deuteronomy 4, beginning with verse 9. But watch out. Be careful never to forget what you yourselves have seen. Do not let these memories escape from your mind as long as you live, and be sure to pass them on to your children and your grandchildren. Never forget the day when you stood before the Lord your God at Mount Sinai, where he told me, summon the people before me, and I will personally instruct them. Then they will learn to fear me as long as they live, and they will teach their children to fear me also. Now notice verse 10 again. Then they will learn to fear me. They will learn to respect me. He said, never forget that day you had an encounter with the reality of God and you learned to respect God. So it's not only faith that is affected by our memories. It is not only the removal of fear that is affected by our memories. It's our respect for God. Now, beloved, please, many Christians today have had great encounters with God, just like Solomon of old. You know the big difference between Solomon and King David? David, a man after God's own heart. Solomon had two great encounters with God, but then he seemed to forget them, and he lived the way he wanted to live. David was a man who had continuous relationship with God. Now, there are Christians today. They've forgotten incredible encounters. There are members of our own church who have forgotten incredible encounters during the revivals in the mid-90s. When God appeared to you, when God spoke to you, when God completely changed your life with a theophany. A theophany is a big, fancy theological word that means a revelation of God. You've forgotten. May I humbly beg of you today, please sit down and remember. Remember the great encounters you've had with God. And in those memories, respect God. Remember all the miracles and all the deliverance that God has done for you, all the provision that God has done for you. And then as you face the high gas prices, as you face the economic challenges that we have in the next few years in our beloved country, there's no fear. There's only faith. God provides.